If you've caught my videos before, then you know that this is a bit of a new setup. I am enjoying my new studio space in my garage, but it's a little more spacious and I'm a little more set up. In today's video, I want to talk to you about having money grow in paper. My envelope is plastic, but let's talk a little bit about money and about getting your money to work a little better for you, getting law of attraction to make your money multiply a little. So here's the basic idea. First of all, snowball effect. The snowball effect happens when, of course, you have a little snowflake and it gathers with another little snowflake and they start to gather and they get bigger and bigger, and if they're on a downhill, they gather momentum and they gather more and more mass as they add a little more snow and a little more snow and a lot more snow. So the whole idea behind the snowball effect is that you might start with a little bit, hardly even worth noticing, worth mentioning, but you can end up with a big, huge amount at the end without almost having tried, because once that momentum gets going, something happens and it multiplies, it gets way bigger. At some point, the snowball starts to really expand in not just double, but in multiples. It's far more powerful what starts to happen. So that's the idea behind the snowball effect, and that's really what you want to have happen with your money. Making your money snowball. One way to make your money snowball is to put intent into your money. When you put intent into your money, what happens is that you are putting energy into what you want your money to go towards. In Asia for, I think like centuries and centuries, or maybe millennia after millennia, I mean, just for thousands of years, one thing that happens is they deliver money in little red envelopes. I used to have some of those little red envelopes, but I don't now. And so instead I went at one point and I got myself whatever I found. I think I found this at Office Depot at the time for very little, and it has, one envelope space there and another one here. And I like it because I can therefore put money in the two different little pockets. Well, your envelope doesn't have to be red, although that's a good feng shui color. It doesn't have to have more than one sleeve. It can be anything. But the whole idea is that when you take and just tuck some money away, and what I tend to do is put a note in with it, and you put money towards different things, and you play the snowball game, you can allow law of attraction to start to snowball your money. So what I do is, I have more than one envelope, but I put a little note in with it because what I do is I put it towards something. So at one point, I probably had like 5 or 10 envelopes with different things, like some crazy wild trip I want to take, savings towards my next property, or, anything at all, savings towards next summer and getting to go shopping, or getting something really extravagant for my daughter or my husband, that kind of thing. It sounds sort of like, that's just going to take forever to get anywhere, right? I mean, you saw I have $5 in that pocket. What is that ever going to do? And because people think that way, they don't bother saving the money, and they miss out on a huge flow of abundance. When you're in the flow of abundance and you're letting law of attraction really increase your money, you tuck a little away, because here's what happens. You go about your day and you have however much money, and I know that for most of us, you don't really feel like you have enough money, because one of the things that happens is that no matter how much money you get, you still sort of need more, and you never have enough money. So don't go making the mistake in taking on a belief that says, if only I had X amount more, it would be good. Because the thing is, that's not really true. It doesn't really work out that way. Every time you say, if I had enough money for a new car, that'd be fine, I wouldn't need anything else. Then you get the new car and you find that, for example, the insurance payment is higher than it was on your old car. So then you're like, if only I had a little more, I could pay for the insurance, I could pay for the car, and everything would be fine and dandy. And then either something else happens with the car, or you kind of go, the car rocks. If only I could drive the car on a vacation and go on vacation, then everything would be awesome. I'd be having so much fun. Oh, and if only on that vacation I could spend money to go out and buy what I wanted, and you will increase it. The other thing that happens, honestly, energetically, is that even as money comes in, you tend to increase your outflow, because money is really a flow and it's really energy. It's not really a thing, because after all, this thing is just cloth. It's not even really paper, it's cloth. That's why you can put it through the washing machine and get clean money. It's really just cloth. It's representational, and so money is really energy. Given that money is really energy, what you want to do is you want to increase your flow. But most people will increase their flow, they'll get a raise or walk into some money somehow, and they'll increase their bills, they'll increase their debt. Because unless the energy is within themselves to really attract more, the parts of them that attract lack or that attract debt, places to have the money go to, whether you like it or not, that increases as well. This is actually why sometimes when people win the lotto, or actually quite often, here they walk into all this money and you're probably thinking, my goodness, if I had that kind of money, I'd be set for the rest of my life. And yet a lot of them will wind up broke or greatly in debt kind of thing. Why? Because their energy wasn't in a place to really be in the flow of abundance. So even when abundance tried to come, it also left. So you want to be in this place where you're in that flow, but you're working the flow well. You're playing this game where you have a different kind of belief that says the money comes and then I send the money to different places. I send the money to my rent or my mortgage. I send the money to my car payment. I send the money to the grocery store where I have my grocery bills, my electric bills, my utility bills, you choose where your money goes. And when you do it intentfully, one of the things that you do that is a number one law of abundance is you say, the first place my money goes is partly to me. And you will always, I know, feel like you don't have enough money, but when you change your mind, you'll start to shift the whole game and you'll shift your energy. In other words, as it is that you say, no, Kaylin's right. I have all these places my money goes, and I always have just enough to squeak by or not quite enough. Have you noticed that? Like, how is it that your money always does that so perfectly? Just enough or not quite enough or just a tiny bit extra. You're like, can we change this game so that instead of being in this range between just enough, a little under, a tiny bit extra, instead of having such a small, little, narrow field, can I go like more extra? And how come it won't go this way? It'll go worse. I can always get into more debt. But how come it won't get into more flow of abundance? How come it can't go towards me having more money? Well, one reason is because you believe that you don't have enough. What if I say to you, forget that belief. That's a limiting belief, and law of attraction makes sure that you don't have enough, because that's what you're saying you are. That's what your energy is reflecting. So change that up. Take on the red money envelope abundance habit. I just named that. And what you do is when you have extra little piddly money, an extra dollar in your wallet. Right now I have $1 all folded up in my coin purse. So I'm like, this is an extra little dollar. I won't notice it being gone. I'm just going to tuck it away. And clearly I did the same with this $5. And I understand what you're thinking. Okay, $1, $5, it's not that big of a deal. It's not. And you can see I have some more in here. I mean, I could see $1 here and a $5 here. It's not a big deal. But when you're playing the snowball game, and when you are changing your belief system so that you're going to say, I'm going to play the snowball game, I'm going to go from this narrow focus of always just having enough or a little less or a little more, I'm going to start to stretch it out. This is a way you stretch it out. You won't notice that $5 gone. You won't notice $1 gone. What would happen if you put $1 or $5 in every day? I just saw something on Google Plus that I really liked. It was this idea that throughout a year, so they called it like a year challenge or something. If you save $1 week 1 of the year, $2, you double it every week, $2 week 2. You know, by the time you get to the end of the year, week 52, you have to save $52 that week and $51 the week before. But by the end of the year, you have like over $1,000 saved. The idea is, you know, saving $50 in a week might be a little steep for you, it might not. But the idea is, you know, in a year you've saved over $1,000 that you otherwise wouldn't think to save, because $1,000 sure sounds like more money. So that's the whole idea to the snowball effect, that if you put a little in here, it'll add up. The other thing is you are going, stop, halt, universe. We are going to redefine the whole game. We're going to change our beliefs and play a whole different game. In this game, I'm going to play the money snowball game. I'm going to tuck a little bit away. And as I get used to that, and as I get used to being able to put a little bit away, what happens naturally is soon I'll be able to put a little more away. I don't want you to believe me. I don't totally want you to believe me. I want you to try it for yourself. Because when you do this, what happens is you start with one envelope and you say, I'm going to be going on a trip for Christmas or next summer, and so I'm going to tuck away a little bit. Maybe I'll have $100 to spend on a really nice dinner by the time the trip comes. So every time there's a little bit, you're like, I'm going to take this $1 out, I'm going to take this $5 out, and I'm going to tuck it away. As you do that, it'll start to accumulate. Next thing you know, sometimes you go to count your money and it's going to surprise you. It will have multiplied without you even knowing it, and it's because of the snowball effect. Now, if you are a plastic girl or boy, meaning that you plastic everything, you charge everything, you use your debit card, that's a little harder because that's just that game. There are some banks that will do the same snowball effect kind of thing, where every time you use your card, they'll put like $1 into your savings account, out of your account, mind you. But in other words, every time you use your card, they're going to help you save money. And the truth is, you know, I like playing with money itself, because one thing about it is that, you know, at some point when you take the money, and for example, I totally forgot I had this, and it's no big deal, and frankly, I cleaned this out recently and I put it in a bigger pile. But, you know, so it's like no big deal. But then I kind of go, oh, look at this money. I could go to Starbucks. And again, it's not because that's any big deal, but the idea is that that is a more abundant feeling and a more abundant thought than there's no money in my house. There's no envelope with nothing. You know, there's a nothing. There's a lack feeling, a lack thought, a lack energy. This may be insignificant because 15, 18 bucks is nothing, but when you have 1 or 2 or 3 envelopes, and in time, because this is pretty recent, I mean, this clearly has not accumulated for very long, in time you wind up with more. You wind up feeling more abundant. Now, it doesn't mean that if you like to plastic things that you can't still play the game, because when you get paid, do the same thing. Just kind of go, okay, Kaylin, if I had cash in my wallet and if I put $5 a week into an account, I would wind up with 20 or 25 at the end of the month. So just put that straight into a savings account. Or take it out of your account and put it straight into a money jar if you like. You know, your container doesn't matter. I like the envelope because there's a whole history of money coming to you in red envelopes, like I said. So the idea is, though, that ultimately, number one, you are telling the universe, stop. We're not playing that old game of just enough to squeak by, not quite enough, or, you know, a little tiny extra. We're changing the game. Number one, change the game. Number two, change your belief. If you believe that you don't have enough and that a little more would make a big difference, change your mind. It's not true. Abundance is abundance. When you're in an abundant flow, decide that you want to also believe that when you're in an abundant flow, that means that you have enough. More bills? Doesn't matter. I have enough. Less bills? Doesn't matter. I have enough. That's a different belief. Can you get a feel for how that's a different belief versus I just barely have enough? If only I had more. First of all, that belief has some grasping energy that tries to pull at life, give me more money. And law of attraction goes, oh, you want to experience, give me more money? Sure, here's some more lack of money so that you can feel more of that, give me more money. You don't want to go there. Change your belief. I can be abundant. I cannot notice $5 coming out of my wallet, $1 coming out of my wallet once a week, 3 times a week. Whenever I see enough bills, I can just slip one out. Maybe a 10, maybe a 20, maybe 100. You might not notice. And I can save it for myself. And I can put myself first. When you put yourself first, you're using the law of self. You're honoring yourself. You're taking care of yourself. You're saying, universe, I'm going to be abundant. I'm going to play the snowball money game. I'm abundant. Law of attraction goes, oh, you're abundant? Okay, let's add to your snowball. So I hope I've gotten you to think a little differently. I hope I've introduced you to a great snowball idea because energy does work that way. Energy attracts its own energy. So the more I put a $5 bill in there, the more they're going to multiply. Don't ask me how, because once they're in the envelope, energy can take over. Also, when I'm putting $5 in the envelope or $1 in the envelope or $10 in the envelope, I don't feel lack. I mean, it's $5. It's not that big of a deal. It's $1. Do whatever you're comfortable with. I do feel more abundant. I'm attracting more abundance. So I hope you're changing your mind. I hope you're thinking about a couple of these things, the beliefs, the way energy flows, how you can attract more money to you in this effortless way by putting a little bit away, by putting yourself first. So that law of attraction goes, oh, you come first? Oh, we're snowballing your money? Give it a little time. Keep putting a little in there and a little in there, and you watch and wait what law of attraction is going to do. That is how you can really enhance your money. I hope that's really getting you thinking, because there's nothing better than feeling like you're abundant. I'm Kaylin, your abundance coach. I'm also co-founder of the Golden Flow System of Accelerated Well-Being and Abundance. And I'm having fun tripping over myself today and enjoying my new space. I hope you go and get a few cute little envelopes or handsome envelopes if that's your thing. Write on the envelope or put a note in with the money and save towards the things that you like. Once you get one envelope going, it's really easy to add another and another. It's a great thing. Here's to your abundance.